Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of continuing development. The main focus for this episode is going to be getting this cannon to kind of spin around on its own and quote-unquote track a target, along with the barrel bit moving up and down. The main challenges, of course, with this is going to be making sure that this only moves this way and doesn't move like this. But of course, making sure that the barrel bit here also actually rotates that way. So we want it to move up and down, and we don't really want the barrel bit spinning sideways. Part of it as well with the object-based is the idea that, say we have our turret, say we have a object off in the distance that we want to target. If this object is moving, we want this to not only be able to track this, but getting it to where this will track ahead. So as this is moving this way, it's actually going to be aiming for right here. So whenever it fires, it goes here by the time the object has reached that area. Kind of like you're shooting at like an airplane, for example. You would want to shoot ahead of the airplane and not at the airplane. So we're going to start with another object. I'm going to rename this one enemy ship. I'm just going to grab this, add in just a normal little cube, and let's make it a little bit larger, make a little bit of a long box. And let's toss the red material on it, just so we can see it off in the distance. Save and compile. So now we should be able to go and drag this out and just send it kind of off in the distance. That way, whenever this is aiming, it can point towards hopefully at least the center right now of this object. With the cannon, we're of course going to need a reference to the enemy object. For right now, I'm just going to add a variable called enemy ship and click the little eye icon right here so I can access it in the editor. And then I'm actually going to search in here for enemy ship, specifically for a object reference. Gonna compile and save that, minimize. And so if I actually go and click on the cannon now, we can see right over here, it's a little small, but named enemy ship and currently has none, but we do have a placed in the world enemy ship object that we are going to reference. And so that gives us access to any details regarding it, including, most importantly, the location for that object. Going back to our cannon code, we're going to be using a function called find look at rotation. We will want this specifically to be used with setting our actor rotation. And we're actually going to split this structure. And so what that will be useful for is, instead of it completely matching the rotation, it's only going to be rotating on whatever we specifically want it to. With like this cube, for example, we only want it to rotate the Z-axis. Going back to our event graph, we want our target specifically to be this cube right here. I'm actually going to rename that cube cannon body, and I'm going to rename cube 1 barrel. This inner cube, I'll just call it inner barrel. We want only the cannon body itself to rotate. There we go. Bit of a roundabout way, but we'll see if that works. From here, this is going to be every tick. Is it the event tick? Yes. Every event tick, we want the cannon to figure out where the enemy is. Specifically, that starts from the cannon body also being a reference here, which will need the actor location. Could be world location. And then we'll need the location for the enemy ship. So we can drag that in, get to world location, we can copy that, and that's going to be our target. And so with that, we only right now want the Z location. So the other two we want to keep the same. We only want the Z to change. Now let's see if this works. So it would seem like it has worked. We can actually test this by, well, it's worked in a unplanned way. So we can run simulate. There we go. So it is working, just that the quote-unquote front for this cube is offset from where the actual front is. Luckily, we can just, let me change that over to its world view and then just move it over. So now, if we run simulate now, it is pointed in that direction. And so say it was flying by, the cannon can now follow it. So now if we wanted to, we could go click, and our shell won't reach it, but it's at least firing in that direction. And so now we don't need to worry about how we're orientating this. We want to do the same thing, but we want to do it for the barrel, and we want that to move up and down. First, we'll have to fix the point where it's deciding to rotate. Because right now, if I try to play around with its rotation, we want it to rotate on the x-axis, but it's rotating from the center of the object rather than down here where the hinge would be. We can add another object that acts as our pivot. Because currently, if I rotate this part up and down, that inner barrel bit and the arrow follows this. And that's because they are children of the parent object. And then the whole cannon itself, of course, is the parent object for everything. What we can do is go and add a cube, and wherever we want this to be the hinge point, say we make that little small cube there. So we're gonna want it to probably hinge somewhere around here. So we can lower it down into the cannon body. We can go and drag this whole barrel to that cube. So now this is our rotation point. And so as we rotate this, that's where the barrel will actually rotate. That way we now actually have control over the barrel and how it faces the target. Now that we have our hinge, I'm going to just really quickly fix the barrel to being actually flat. So I'm actually going to lower this bit of the barrel into it. So now, if I go and rotate our hinge, it should look a little bit nicer with the barrel there. We have this, and luckily, we can actually just kind of build off of this, mainly in the event execution. Since every tick we want not only the body to follow, but also the barrel to follow, we're going to keep using the enemy ship as our reference point. We can reuse, just gonna reuse the form of it. So we know we want the X value to be what we're rotating. We want our target to be the hinge. And of course these won't connect up nicely. So we're going to need this get owner component. That's the target and the return. And then of course we can always pull this hinge as the world location and the target. So now, assuming it works, only one way to find out as always. And while it looks like something has gone wrong, so let's simulate and see what's happening. Well, so now it's not rotating. So we have run into a bit of an issue. So it could be something in our script outright that's failing. So if we run it, nothing's showing that it's wrong. It even says that it compiles correctly. Let's see, if I disconnect this, does this still work? Okay, this still works. Let's make sure that it moves. Boop, 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 boop. So the assumption should, I didn't really trust it going up and down. So if I open, the target is the hinge. We're setting that rotation and we're specifically setting the roll. We're getting this location and that location. There's nothing limiting it. Okay, well let's test this. If I break this link, because we know that first bit worked, let's see if the second bit works on its own. Because it could be merely an issue of two actor rotations conflicting with each other. I have no way to know, but could be. Simulate. Okay, it rotates back this way. And changing the height there doesn't do anything. But it doesn't rotate if I don't have that. Because if I break this, yeah, it doesn't rotate on its own. So something with this, specifically the hinge trying to rotate, doesn't like it. I did drag this in differently, so maybe that has something with it. If I do this and then just type hinge, I don't believe that conflicts with any word usage. I also gave it Z. No. That's because I deleted it. That's fine. Recompile. If I run simulate, Okay, that's a promising start. That is not promising, however. So we fixed it not rotating, because yeah, if I delete this, just making sure, if I run simulate on this, yeah, it breaks. I think I figured out why. Currently, we're only rotating the owner of the cannon body, which we have to rotate an actor object. So we're rotating the cannon itself, right? So this and this are technically doing the same thing, as in they're just getting the cannon. And that's why this is kind of freaking out, because it's trying to do 0, 0, right? Since these are grabbing the same thing, if I go and delete that, these two are the same. So we don't actually, we only need that for there. Boom. Boom. And then kind of like how we did with that, we'll just set that there. And then the Z for there. It's not going to get our hinge to work, but it's going to still rotate towards the target. At least that's the theory. Let's see if it works in practice. Yep. Okay. This does cause a little bit of problem, as I'm going to now have to figure out how to reference the object, not as an actor, but as the static body objects that they are. Currently, we're doing actor rotation. Does there exist? If I just branch off over here. So we don't do actor rotation. We want to do... We gotta figure out if we want relative or world. Let's try relative on the hinge. And I can split this structure. So our assumption, let me actually break that link, because it tried to smart link it since I had dragged from over there. So let's treat the cannon body as the same. I'll leave that, but I want to delete that just for understanding. Okay, we set up our roll. We set up our Z-axis. We actually don't need that there now, because what we can do instead is hook this up. We want our Z to go there. Let's try that. So let's see if that works at all. So if I simulate, I feel like it broke a little bit, but let's... Yeah, I think it definitely, something definitely broke. Well, we got ourselves a sideways cannon. So it's not our Z. Would it be our Y, actually? I may have been wrong so long before. It's simulate, still backwards. But, okay, that is what we're looking for. But let's make sure this still works, because it'd be really funny if for some reason that broke. Ah, here we are. Here is our turret following. And as it gets closer, let's say, for example, it can even aim up completely, and it rotates to follow the object wherever it goes. For a short bit, I'm going to take a look at getting the rotations to be limited, because right now, technically, as showable here, for example, say the enemy ship is flying towards us, that's fine, fine, fine. But then let's say, of course, it dips under, right? And we have a little bit of the back of the barrel facing up, and technically, say this was like in the middle of the deck, right? You wouldn't want your turret aiming down like this. That is not going to be safe or fun for your own ship. This will likely be handled in here, mainly more so as a check in regard to the current rotation of our hinge, right? The one helpful thing of adjusting the hinge to be in line with the barrel is that if the hinge is facing 10 degrees down, the barrel itself is also going to be facing 10 degrees down. Going back to the event graph, specifically we have the look at rotation. So we're going to want the hinge, currently has 0, 0, 0. So we would want it to have a limit of -10 up to 60 was what I had said. So that's our range of firing motion. The way I'm imagining it, we have this return value, and this is going to be the angle that our hinge needs to be rotated to. So all we really should need is like a check. Oh, it's a branch. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we're going to have a condition. Oh, if true, we're going to continue handling the relative rotation. Our condition that we're going to be checking is if the Y value pitch is... Actually, we will want to change this to less than or equal to 260. So if that's true, we'll let it pass. And if it's false, we don't care. It's just going to continue aiming right where it was, because it will just stop. That's the maximum it can go to. We're actually going to want another branch. Oh, And if that's true, it continues on. And this is just handling the other. Greater than or equal to -10. There we go. So if it is less than 60 degrees, and if it's greater than -10, let it target. Otherwise, it's going to limit it, right? This is simple to check. So if I run simulate, we got it aiming. Let's bring the enemy object closer. So if it goes down, there we go. That's the lowest it can aim. And then the highest, let's move it a little closer so that it has a bit more ability to go up. So that looks about as far as it'll go, because if I move this over, there we go. That's as high as it's able to go. And so instead it's going to decide to try to rotate around. And then as that goes off, it can aim down again. One thing I want to try to do is be heavy. First search is going to be our interp. Oh, that is still a thing. My understanding of our interp 2 is the idea of we have this fine look at rotation. We would actually use this instead because it takes use of delta time so that if you're lagging, it accounts for that. We're going to try to see if this interp 2 works. I'm assuming this is mostly going to be plug and play, except for the fact that it takes rotation values, which unfortunately we're not working with rotation values. We're working with vectors here, and then we're using look at vectors because we don't want to use these. These are what this is going to be. If we split those out, that's that. But we need input and output positions, and we can get these pretty simply. I'm actually going to keep this separate, recombine, and so this just gets dragged right down there. That's our delta time. I'm going to disconnect this just so we don't mess up that part, because the assumption is that if this doesn't work, we're just going to go right back to this. Cannon body, we want to actually get the get world rotation, and then we're going to want to do the same thing for the target, specifically the enemy ship, which we can just drag out the root component for that, just like before. I'm going to put 10 right here just to see how that works. That might be way too much or way too little. We shall see. And then I'm actually just going to break that link, and we're going to connect up this one instead. So actually we can reconnect that. So we're bypassing this whole area right here where it's the look at, and we're going instead down here, which is the interp 2. So we will see if that works. It does at least compile. So we're going to drag down, kind of get into a view where we can actually see what's happening and simulate. And it's gone the other way. I don't think I put the wrong one, did I? No, it's definitely Z, because if we reconnect that and then pile and run, yeah, okay, that is the right one. Let's see. We're getting world rotation of target. Oh, I might be a bit silly. I think the way that it wants it to work is that instead we break, recombine. I think this needs to go into the target, and then this as just the Y goes into there. That might be it. Because I think what was happening is this is taking the current rotation of it. It wants this rotation, which is what it's expecting to find. And then this is that rotation action. So if we run simulate, there we go. You can kind of notice a little bit of a lag to it. It's not just like, if I continue moving it really fast, it's not just jumping equally with it. It's taking time to rotate. So if I go down to 1, there we go. So as like the ship is moving, we'd probably want it to move faster than this, but that gets at least a desired feel. So say like something like jumped in, our turrets have to actually rotate to it. It's not just a snap. Now that we have this, we can actually take this and do the same thing for our hinge rotation. So we need our delta time snapped over here. We're gonna have to break all of the link pins there, but we remember that they're Y, so I can drag them there, and also there. Now we can recombine this into an actual rotation, add that to our target, right? Yeah, and then from our hinge, just gonna copy that over. Who needs a search whenever you can just copy and paste? So I can minimize and then go and simulate. There we are. So say the enemy was approaching us and then went up really quickly and then kind of started dancing around us and then flew right over us. The main task for this episode has been completed. I'm going to call it good for here right now, and on to the next.
I have the walls up already for the city. For this episode, I'm going to try and start filling it in with some just general buildings and stuff. So this episode will hopefully be a lot of city design, actually. I am planning on doing a lot of city design, which will be interesting, because I haven't done any of that before, so... first things first, I mentioned in the last episode, I think, or maybe I didn't, that these two buildings, the mayor's house and the temple, are way too close together. So first things first, I'm gonna have to move them apart a little bit. Alright, so this is the temple, obviously, and this is the mayor's house, right? So I want this area right here to be like a town square. So like, I don't know, there'll be a couple shops and stuff. Maybe a couple other things, I don't know. I've moved these two buildings, the temple and the mayor's house. Or maybe this will be the town hall, I don't know. Either way. Government building. And I don't know, I think they may all be in good positions. I feel like the space between each building and the wall is a little short. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. And I can always, like, reposition them later too, so there's really no problem. Alright, so these are just some open air shop stalls, obviously, I have going on in the town square, sort of to make a open air market feel. The whole town square won't be an open air market, but I do want there to be a couple of shops. I may remove one of these too. I may end up just having one of the stalls, I'm not sure. Still haven't decided on that yet. Oh, this lady right here is Valeria the shopkeeper. She's going to be running the shop with all like the random miscellaneous stuff. So like if, for example, if for some weird reason you needed like an empty glass bottle, she would have it. I may also make her have some of the less specialized crafting stuff. And then this guy here in the blue is Jared the Armor. I'm thinking for him, I'll probably have his story be that he's like a retired war veteran. And he's the armor, obviously, so he sells the weapons and armor and stuff, right? So I'm thinking his story will probably be that he's selling all the weapons and armor he got from the wars he fought in. These houses right here are some of the row houses on the, or in the poorer slash shadier areas of town. As you can see, there is a bit of a back alleyway between the houses and the city wall. So that is hopefully where all the slinking through shadows, you know, roguey, thiefy stuff will be happening in these alleyways back here. And then I'm also going to add some more houses, so. And then this building that I've just copy and pasted, I'm thinking that those buildings with pentagonal structures, I think I'll have them be like slightly more important buildings. Nothing like they won't be like mayor level or city official level important, but I do think I might have like a gang leader living or operating out of one of those buildings, or I don't know, maybe something similar. Especially since, again, they're close, right up next to the alleys. Oh, and this building that I'm messing with right now will be like a militia guardhouse slash jail. And hopefully the jail will provide some interesting side quests. And then this is just pretty much your stereotypical inn. Alright, and for the last thing I'm going to do for this episode, I'm going to change the name of the module. I'm sure some of you guys have seen, as of right now, I'm very creatively calling it the YouTube module. I'm going to change it to... the City of Hidden Deeds. The City of Hidden Deeds. I'm calling it that because, again, stealth module. Also, I want it to be very, again, I want it to be a lawful city with a criminal underbelly and a lot of people vying in the shadows for power.
How to make 16-bit PNG. Change the image mode to grayscale with only 2 channels. I don't think it understands what I'm asking. I swear I figured out what it was. Ah, yeah, see? No, wait. I'm assuming that means bit. So, 16-bit grayscale. I really hope I'm doing this right. See, that's what I thought I needed to do. Alright, see, I got a brain in here. We got brain. Delete. Oh, I missed one. Mountain Dew break. Yummy. Selection mode. Landscape. There we go. Import from file. Height map this one. Is it gonna work? It's absolutely massive, but I think it's gonna work. I'm not getting any warnings. Oh, this might be good. I'm not gonna mess with anything, and I'm just gonna hit import. Ooh, let's get going, landscape. I think it worked this time. I think I fixed it. It was probably a super easy fix, and I'm sure there were people absolutely cracking their skulls on their own desks watching me fumble around, but I figured it out. What? Why? Why? Okay, I know why it's doing this. Because if I go out here, see, yeah, you can see that. And there's obviously the border. I'm so confused. And it's still, like, below the horizon. What's happened? I would like to send it to the trash, please. How to delete landscape. Select mode. Aha. Bam. Delete. Well, it must be working because my computer's frozen. Oh, it's back! Yay! Oh, what the heck is going on here, huh? Boop. New landscape. Making landscape road bump number 1. Make landscape. Road bump number 2. Landscape material. Road. Okay. Oh, look, our landscape. It's here. Now we're gonna do landscape material. Once upon a time, little Connor knew how to make a master multi-material. Connor doesn't know how to do that anymore. Do I? I should still have some, don't I? Yeah, look at that. Export. Oh, I did it. Bonk. Ah, look, I did it. Okay, and then he used, what was it? Make material attributes. Yeah, that's right. Hey, look, it auto detected the normal map. Yay! Okay, this. Right, it said I can't have RGB on this one. I also said I can't have RGB on this one. Normal map is a normal map. Base color needs temperature, landscape, textures. Texture sample. That's roughness. That's normal. Base. Ambient occlusion. Landscape layer blend. Grass. Dirt. Rock. Grass. Bam. Bam. I am making excellent strides today.
Hold it.
Normal constant? Ah, like that. Okay. I'm stupid. It was a landscape something. Layer coordinate. Yeah, that's what it was. Hooked into B. UV. That's basically done, right? And then I just have to paint it on. Here it is. See if this works and see if it looks any good. I'm actually genuinely surprised that ChatGPT was consistent across all those images. It's actually mind-blowing. I had to have done something wrong. And didn't he change... I'm gonna call mine grass underscore tile. And default value I think he set to 1. Did I do it? Something no work. Oh, let's just try not doing this right now. Just to see if the material works, which so far looks like it does. I mean, although the grass is like indented and they're supposed to be like 3D, right? Actually walking around on it. It's like okay, but I think the leaves and rocks are too abundant, but it's also like not fantastic, which to be fair is to be expected from AI. Hey, that's pretty good. I guess we could start by making some mountains. This is good for making rough edges, I guess. This actually doesn't look half bad. Making a mountain range, I guess. Let's maybe put like a river or a lake. Let's say the river like comes from here. Yeah, let's say we get like a waterfall or whatever. Oh! Let's see how this river is. Okay, well, already an immediate flaw. Part of it travels uphill. Okay, I've got a better idea. I want this river wide as all get out. I could also, I suppose, raise it up a bit so that there's like a waterfall into the lake. Maybe? I don't even know what I'm doing there, but whatever. Okay. Let's do the texture. Let's fix our texture. Oh boy! Now that just looks... I like it, and I'm sure it'll look much better in game, but just seeing it is very weird. It's also really shiny. Yeah, I just need to do some foliage, obviously some different types of grass textures, and I need to be able to paint them. The tiling's a bit weird. Well, it really depends on how you look at it, but yeah, you can see the tiling. We'll just leave it as it is for now. And I think we'll spend most of our time in episode 3 doing textures, because I can always do landscape later. I need to get my textures done.
As shown during my recording, the only addition has been this one on the side, which is to show me that I need to work on a couple of things that I will be handling in the 3rd episode. Just to show off what has been done so far, I will run Simulate, in which all cannons will aim towards the target. And as I move the target, they will actively update their targeting. Both side to side, and if I move this up and down...
That's very cool.
Those
way bigger brain than what I can do.
That is very cool.
Along with that, they can only aim so low, so if I keep moving this down...
I was about to say, you aim them too low, you're going to blow a hole in your own ship.
Exactly, I covered that in my video. And so if I lift it too high up, of course, you have a limit to how high you can aim, so instead it has to start spinning around. That's pretty much it right now for what I've worked on. I just added a couple in here just to kind of show how it works. This is the thing I'll need to work on, is that it starts off sideways, and so you would think that it would rotate as like a sideways mount.
Yeah.
But the second I run Simulate, it resets its rotation. As I was saying before, this lower part handles the slow rotation. This interp speed is what I can control to make it spin faster or slower. All of this here and then here is specifically the cannon body for rotating left and right, and the hinge bit for up and down. And the hinge is holding the barrel bits. And so you rotate off of the hinge. Since the hinge is the parent of the barrel, I just need to rotate off of the hinge to rotate the full barrel.
Very cool.
Interesting.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool.
I feel like a caveman compared to you, Sean.
Nah, it's all good.
I say that,
I know your
but
stuff
Isaac's
isn't
the
good.
one who's actually using the ancient stuff.
Well, at least
Yeah,
it's
and I'm
all
still
there. My
further along
stuff is
than
all
you are.
just gray.
Yeah, I'm still further along.
I won't go into too much detail on what the next episode will be about, mainly because I'm still figuring out some of that. Beyond the fixing, I think I will do some model updates and like kind of get it to look a bit nicer, and then also some sound / overall kind of making stuff look a little better before moving on to something else with this. But otherwise, that is it for me.
Right, on to Isaac, you're next.
Okay. I've prepared this handy dandy little slideshow for y'all. Yes, I know this is very unsatisfactory. I apologize for that. So as I'm sure you guys remember, last episode I threw down the city walls over here and the textures over here.
Very
So
cool.
this episode I threw down these little row houses or whatever. These row houses and the wall are supposed to make like a back alleyway sort of, and I'm also gonna have more of these houses lined up against the wall to make the alleyway narrower. So that's supposed to be sort of the shady outskirts of the city or whatever.
Cool.
I like how it disappears into the fog. Here's the militia guardhouse / jail. City Hall and Temple, as I had in the last episode. And then these here are 2 shops or open air stalls. So this lady is Valeria, the shopkeeper. She is going to be like your, like if for some reason you need like some food or something, you'll go to her. If you need like some mundane, I don't know, jewelry or something, you'd go to her. If you need like some scrap wood or scrap leather for crafting, you'd go to her. For the simpler crafting stuff, not the more complicated, more sophisticated crafting stuff. Anyway, so that's Valeria the shopkeeper. This is Jared the armor. He is going to be a war veteran who is selling off all of the excess gear, as well as I'm probably going to make him either a blacksmith or like a arms and armor dealer. And I may move him into like an indoor building, because obviously it doesn't seem very in character for a guy selling a bunch of, you know, suits of full plate armor to be in this little stand, but this, I don't know, this is temporary. And then this is going to be a warehouse. Sean, we had talked about possibly like an industrial sector in the city or whatever. This is going to be some sort of slightly seedy inn, like sort of your stereotypical inn, stereotypical D&D inn. And then this, so I don't know if you guys can see, these row houses are obviously in straight lines, right? But right behind this inn, they come to a corner. At the corners, I've placed these houses, or buildings, which are slightly fancier row houses, I guess you could say. I'm probably going to have them be, like, headquarters for, I don't know, some of the shadier gang leader holes up in one of these or something or the other. I really don't know. But not like the mayor lives here, but like, you know, somebody a little less important. So yeah, that is all I got.
Okay, very cool, even though it looks like crap.
At least I have a game. Now let's see your
I have a game. Okay, this is not the AI generated image.
I'm taking screenshots of the ChatGPT.
This is not the ChatGPT image. Okay, those ones in my folder, yes, are, but, so this was the height map that I generated in the last episode, or I didn't generate it, I made it with Asgar's fantasy map generator. Here's where I turn it into a 16-bit PNG. I tried uploading this height map, and it's still doing this crap. And that part right here is because of the distance thing that shows on that map I made. Like, so you can actually see if I... There you go. I show it. Here, I started to copy Sean here and started... Oh, there we go. I added my own little doodads.
I gotta one-up you now, somewhere, somehow.
Nice.
For like half of this recording, I was basically educating myself on how to make a material and a multi-material. I wanted to do an auto material too, but I haven't gotten around to that. ChatGPT, here we go, baby. Here we go. But I start with the grass material. I have ChatGPT make me a grass material just because I wanted to see if it could do it. Okay, it was a stress test. Let's see, there it is. Look, it's actually good. It actually is.
It's all weird blue. Doesn't look like grass or leaves at all.
Well, that's what a normal map is. A normal map basically gives the flat texture a somewhat 3D appearance. And so I put the material together and I test it. So these are all the textures for it, or the 4 textures. And then I did the crap, right? And then here at the end, I actually plug it into my landscape, and it obviously has a tiling issue, which I need to resolve, but I didn't like this texture, so I made the decision to, by the way, this is my terrain, and I made a mountain range.
So basically what I'm hearing is that Sean and I are, well, what I'm hearing is that I have the most, like,
3D model setup, Sean has the most functionality in code, and ChatGPT is in third place making your game.
No, because it only made the textures. I'm doing the rest. And this is the new texture that I like better.
It looks absolutely terrible.
Nah, I think it looks great. Over yonder, I plan to put like a waterfall or something right there. I need to make this more shallow, I think. And the lake needs to be deeper. And then I have kind of a flat plateau thing over there as well. Right here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just kind of put it there. So the lake is going to fill this whole area.
3D modeling looks great. Sean, what do we think about his use of ChatGPT?
So my 4 cents I'm going to toss on the table is that technically it was never said that we didn't want to use ChatGPT. I haven't used it yet. However, from my game dev classes, one of the things is, especially if you're getting stuck on something, not to bash the tools that you have. Now, would I recommended probably searching up a bit more or like searching through free assets or textures? Maybe. But using tools is good. So I'm not against it.
Looking for free textures is lame.
I personally vote that I'll clown over him for it, and he is penalized during the final tallying of points.
Nah, I think it's great.
Slightly.
You're just overreacting.
I mean, maybe not. Either way, prepare to be clowned on.
If it quote unquote becomes an issue later, I say revisit. Otherwise, I don't think it'll be a big issue because like game dev is hard.
Nah, I'm just big brain. I'm using my resources.
I'm kidding, Connor. Your 3D modeling looks good.
If you do keep using ChatGPT, you might see if you can try to get it to do tileable, because I don't know if the texture itself is the issue of like it has like a highlighted edge because it's AI generated, and that's what's causing your weird square issue. Unreal does support randomized like rotations and such, so that it's not the same texture back to back. But otherwise, looks actually pretty decent. Glad to see where it'll go.
I was wondering if he could like select like whatever texture he wanted and paint it manually.
Yeah, that's what the
you can do that in Nevernights too.
That's what the multi-material I was trying to make does. I just don't have the other materials ready.
Well, I know I was giving you crap, Connor. But I do think your guys' games are coming along very nicely.
Okie dokie. Well, I hope you all enjoyed. Do the things that every YouTuber tells you to do so you can see the next episode.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.